Hey guys, it's Julian, and today I'm going to be showing you how to make dubby house like James Dexter and Mihai Popoviciu. As usual, you get the project file and samples and MIDI and presets and all that kind of stuff in this video in the description. And if you're a patron on my Patreon, check there because it's already available. And yeah, let's get started. So this is what we heard in the intro. We're at 125 BPM. The first sound we have here is the kick, which sounds like this. So as you can hear, this is just like a pretty standard sort of minimal house style kick, just very nice and bassy and deep. And yeah, so what we got going on here is it's just this kick. And then I have it going through some drum bass, you can hear. Kind of helps to fatten it up. This is also tuned to the key of the track. We're in G sharp minor. And so we got... yeah, the kick is playing G sharp or A flat, whatever you want to say. Next thing we have here is the bass, which sounds like this. So you can hear, this is a pretty simple bass line. It's just kind of playing off of the kick. With this style, it tends to be a little bit more simple bass lines. It's more just about like how it's so syncopated and bouncy. And you can see, to go with that, we've also got these notes swung quite a bit. So if I turn on 16th note grid, for example, you can see like these notes, for example, are pushed back a bit. Basically every 16th note is. This is how everything is in this track. But yeah, that's part of what's giving it that really bouncy, swingy groove. For the sound on this one, MIDI using operator, what we have here is actually just a square wave going into a low pass filter. So pretty simple bass sound. The square wave going into low pass is really good if you just want something that's really fat with some really nice deep low end. I have that going into a bit of chorus. Here's without that. And then with it, you can hear it just helps to kind of, spread it out a bit and make it a bit deeper sounding. After that, we have a saturator. Here's without that. And then with it, so you can hear this really helps to fatten the bass up and take it away from just being like a dry kind of dull synth sound. And the last thing we have on there is the CQ8, and this is actually just cutting at, oh wow, look at that, 303 hertz. But it's just kind of cutting out some mud and making it sound a bit cleaner, and that is it for the bass. So I have the kick and the bass in a group, a bus, if you will. It just kind of helps to tie the low end together. The low end is really made up of just the kick and the bass in this track. So putting them in a group together and processing them as one thing is a really good way to sort of tie the low end together and, yeah, just make it all sound really cohesive. So here's without anything on the group. And then with it. So yeah, you can hear the first thing we have here is the saturator. This is sort of tying these together a little bit. It really helps to glue them together because it just tends to fill in those sort of spaces between the elements. You can hear, like, if I turn the drive up even more, like, it's just turning those into one big distorted thing, right? So if we do this to a smaller degree, we can get a similar thing where it'll help to glue these together, but it's not going to completely squash them like that. After that, I have the CQ8. Here's without this. And then with it. So you can hear this just helps to make the low end sound a bit cleaner. I'm cleaning out some of the mud at 250 hertz. And then I've also got a high end boost for the kick. It kind of makes it more clicky. And we have a low end boost to make the low end more powerful. And that is it for the low end bus. Next thing that we have here is this first hi-hat, which sounds like this. So what this is actually 3 layers. We have this one, which is sort of like, more of like a sharp open hi-hat type of sound. I took this and just shortened it with the envelope. I have this shaker. And then I have this hi-hat, which you can hear is just adding a bit of kind of brightness to it. So this hi-hat is layered together, like I said, 3 sounds. This is a good thing for making hi-hats. The thing is, a lot of times, this is especially like with making techno and stuff, but with house as well, like, your hi-hat, it can't just be like, you don't want it to just be like super soft. Like if you have this, on its own, for example, you can hear it doesn't really stand out in the track. Or even if we just use like this one. Or just this one. You can hear it just doesn't sound as nice and kind of strong in the track as this does. So yeah, layering these together, it's kind of just getting the best of everything. Like this is that nice kind of sharp hi-hat. This is adding some nice mid-range. And then this is adding that crisp high-end on top of there. And then I have those in a group, and I've got some processing on the group. Here's with nothing. And then with everything. So you can hear the first thing we have here is the saturator. This is helping to kind of glue these together. And also just, bring the hi-hat out, make it hit a bit harder. And then I have the EQ8, which is just cutting out the low end and doing a bit of a high-end boost. And that is it for the hi-hat. Next thing that we have here is the shaker loop, which sounds like this. So it's pretty simple. It's just a shaker loop. It helps add something kind of organic to the group, because if you listen without it, everything is programmed. And it doesn't really feel like it's good for what it is, but it doesn't really have anything super, human about it. So adding this. Yeah, it's like some live percussion. It kind of brings it to life and makes it feel, again, a bit more organic and kind of interesting. So the only effect I have on there is just the compressor, which is side chaining into the kick. This is the thing with shaker loops, it's very it's just constantly playing. And that can sometimes get in the way of the track, or just kind of even just sound like it's a sample just kind of playing over top of everything, as opposed to really a part of the groove. So this is where the side chain comes in. It just helps to kind of make it kind of fit into the groove a bit better. And yeah, that is it for the shaker loop. Next thing we have here is this little operator percussion, which sounds like this. This is a very small detail. It's just like this tiny little shaker type of sound. You can hear it in the background there. And yeah, so this is just kind of adding a little bit of something extra, It's like one of those very subtle things that makes a big difference. So what we have here is, this is really simple. It's just a little bit of white noise. I've got it going into a bandpass filter. And then what I have on there is I also have an LFO, which is on the filter. So it's just kind of slowly moving that throughout the track to keep it interesting and make it not just kind of flat and dull and simple. So yeah, and then after that, I just have a drum bus. Here's without it, and then with it. You can hear it kind of helps to take it away from just sounding like a synth and make it sound more like some percussion. After that, we have the clap, which sounds like this. So this is just a clap. With this style, it's really more about the sample selection. Just kind of getting a tighter, sort of sharper clap like this. You don't want something super long. And then I have one effect on there, just the saturator. Here's without that. And then with it, so you can hear this is really bringing out that sharpness I was talking about with the clap. And yeah, that is it for the clap. Next thing that we have here is this little tambourine, which sounds like this. So this is just kind of a little percussion sound. I like this one because it's very bright. It adds something that you're not really getting from anything else in this beat. So then I just have one effect on that, just saturator. Here's without it. With it, and that is it for the tambourine. Next thing that we have here is this drum rack, which is with a ton of percussion, which sounds like this. This is basically all the kind of cool percussion. I'll show you. Here's the beat without this. It sounds cool. You can hear this really brings it to life. So I just have all these different percussion sounds. I've got 7 of them in the drum rack here, and you can see, yeah, we just have this playing, some extra sort of stuff in here. But again, this is really adding a lot to the groove. So then I have a few effects on the drum rack. The first thing we have here is this echo. Here's without this. And then with it, so you can hear this is really subtle. I have the dry wet down to only 11%, but this is just adding a really cool little space to the sound. You can see I've got this at a really, really slow time. It's unsynced from the BPM. And yeah, it's just adding a bit of space to everything. After that, we have a bit of drum bus. Here's without that. And then with it, you can hear it really brings the sound to life. And the last thing we have on there is an EQ8, which is just cutting out the line. And that is it for the drum rack. Next thing that we have here are these two chord stabs, which sound like this. So what these are kind of like the dubby part of this. We just have, like I said, these two little chord stabs. They're both playing the same chord, and you can see it's this G sharp minor 9 chord. So we have a G sharp minor chord here, just these 3 notes. And then you add a minor 7th, and then a 9th. And there you go, you get a minor 9. So this is just kind of, a little bit more interesting chord shape. You can use just like a minor or a major chord, just like a regular thing like that. But I like doing this because it just has more life to it. It feels more interesting. And then again, this one is just the same chord, but it's doing this kind of like a little contrast there, because we have this one, which is just, playing that one note. And then we get that kind of quick staccato thing with the second one. So the way I made the first one is using analog. What we've got here is we have 2 saw waves. You can see I've got them an octave apart, detuned a little bit, and then those are going into a low pass. And the low pass, you can hear I've got an envelope on that. It's just kind of like, got that little bit of attack on there. So that's just making this open up over the course of the sound, as opposed to if it was just like, not quite as cool as that. So yeah, then I've just got that going into the amp envelope, which is set like this, and then I have a bit of vibrato on that and a bit of unison as well. So these are just kind of like giving it a bit more character. After that, we just have a bit of chorus. Here's without it, and then with it. You can hear it kind of makes the sound a lot more interesting and brings it to life. And that is it for the first chord stab. The next sound we have here is the second chord stab, which sounds like this. So yeah, like I said, the way I made this one is pretty simple. This one is actually just a sine wave. That's literally all it is, sine wave. I've got some attack on there though. The attack is really what makes it sound cool, because it's kind of like not quite hitting the note. That's not quite the same as with the attack. So yeah, and then after that, I just have a bit of chorus, just kind of spreading it out a bit. And that is it for the second dubby chord stab. And that is also going to be it for this video, guys. So, I hope you enjoyed. As always, make sure to like this video as well as subscribe. And let me know what you think of this video in the comments. Once again, you can get the project file and samples and MIDI and presets and all that stuff from this video in the description. And if you're a patron on my Patreon, check there because it's already available. Thank you so much, everyone. And I will see you tomorrow with another video.